hello, 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 hello out there. How's everybody doing? Is everybody's favorite conservative in New York, Christopher Wright? Here to present you with none of my momentous walk and talk videos here at Bryant Park in Manhattan, as you guys can see. And the reason why I'm not doing the full walk is because, as you guys can see, construction guys working on the ice rink back here. They got parts of the sidewalk closed off, so I can't walk around. They've got the Empire State Building back there and all that good stuff. But anyways, what today's walk and talk going to be about is going to be about Super Tuesday. And pretty much Super Tuesday has came and is gone. And the top winner, if you want to call anybody in the liberal clown show a winner, you got sleepy, creepy Joe Biden coming out on top with 351 delegates counts. I believe 351 delegates. And then you have who came in second was crazy Bernie Sanders, who had around 280 delegates. So it looks like, a lot of people were saying Bernie's going to crush the whole situation, is going to be the number one front runner. But what you're seeing now is the establishment Democrat Party, the moderate left, they are coming out and pretty much saying that we're not going to be socialist. Because that's all Bernie Sanders wants to is talk about bringing in, is socialism. And that might fly in New York City and LA and certain places like that. But if you look at the bigger picture around the entire country, that's not going to work, especially when you talk about the South. That's just not going to happen. So anyways, Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, she dropped out. She was kind of being on the edge a little bit at first, kind of saying, hey, we're going to stick in there and we're going to fight. And it didn't sound like a really strong response after she got about 13 delegates. She won. And, her and mini Mike Bloomberg, he dropped out. He only had about 8 delegates. So if you look at the total delegates that they had, it just wasn't going to be enough to be serious. And what's so funny is if you look at where Joe Biden pretty much won most of his states, it was in states where it was a high black population. He got about 70-80% of the black vote, which is, whoa, that's pretty impressive, especially when you consider that Bernie Sanders has been pandering for the past 2 weeks to the black community. We're trying to get Public Enemy to come to one of his rallies. And we're pretty much called, Chuck D and Flavor Flav to have beef and go back and forth about Flavor Flav not wanting to participate in a Bernie Sanders rally. He says that's not what I represent. He says, this guy's radical beliefs is not what Public Enemy is about. This is anti-establishment. And I hate to say it, but 3 mansion-owning Bernie Sanders is not anti-establishment. He likes to claim it and act like it, but in reality, he is definitely establishment like everybody else. But his policies are radical. And somebody broke it down for me the other day where if he gets all the bills he wants passed in a 10-year span, it would be, he said, anybody who's making over 30 grand or more will get taxed 80% of their paycheck to afford pretty much the amount of trillions that we're going to have to pay for all the free policies that crazy Bernie's talking about. So it's very important to look at it. If you look at it, it's going to require 1991, not the year, but the number of delegates to pretty much secure the nomination without, any extra effort, because anything less than that, it's then going to have to go to the superdelegates. And from what it's looking like so far with the division of the delegates between the two candidates in this last election, it doesn't look like Bernie's going to get 1991 or, maybe not even Joe Biden either. So it's going to go to the superdelegates. If it goes to the superdelegates, what's going to happen. They're going to put their support behind their establishment, Joe Biden. And, you got Beto O'Rourke just came out, Andrew Yang, Amy Klobuchar, a lot of candidates that recently dropped out of the race came out in support of Joe Biden. And, it looks like it's pretty much helped. It looks like the candidates have pretty much dropped it because they knew they didn't have a chance. They came in support of Joe Biden. They got him the votes he needed. And, he pretty much did pretty well on Super Tuesday. But if you ask me, who do I fear more when it comes to running against, or not fear, who do I have a bigger concern for when it comes to running against President Trump? It'll probably be, after this delegate count, it's going to have to be Joe Biden, because Joe Biden, obviously has a legitimately strong base in the black community because he was vice president for Barack Obama for 8 years. So I'm telling you, that's going to get votes just that title alone is going to earn them votes, which is pretty much BS. Most people are supporting Joe Biden and have no clue why they're doing it other than that. So, it's just not really the best policy to really work with. But if you take a look at what's going to happen is, Bernie can't win the South. And if he runs against President Trump, he's going to dominate them in the South. And so there's no option when it comes to the radical left and, their belief system. And I'm hoping that, honestly, that Bernie wins, because if Bernie wins, it's going to show the American community or American public that Democratic Party supports this radical form of socialism that pretty much the AOCs, the Rashid Tlaibs, the Ilhan Omars, the Bernie Sanders, that they're pretty much the squad or whatever. They support this. And that is not going to get the support of the entire country. That might work in places like New York and LA, places that have a lot of like Seattle. But in general, it's not going to fly. And when they try to push those policies on the country, especially against President Trump, it's going to backfire him big time. So I'm hoping that, Bernie can get in there and really just embarrass the party and, pretty much do what needs to be done for Trump to win the election. But either way, neither of the candidates, in my opinion, really have a shot against President Trump. Joe Biden can barely even tell he's there anymore. I mean, he looked like in his last speech, he got his wife mistaken for his daughter that were standing behind him. He forgot who's who. Dementia is setting in. And then has some anti-dairy chick hop on the stage and try to storm the stage, all this crazy stuff. And Senator Simone Sanders did like a Ray Lewis slam tackle on the person that tried to go up there before he can get too close to them. So they don't have the proper staff. They don't have the proper. I mean, you go to a Trump rally, the man has security and everything like that. You're not just going to hump on the stage and act a fool, because he has, for one, he has a whole bunch of his supporters there, and two, this guy is, have so much of a following and everything else like that he can, he has decent security for these events. I mean, these are huge events that he's having. He's filling out football stadiums, for crying out loud. So, there's nothing really to worry about for Super Tuesday. In my opinion, President Trump really came out as the winner out of everybody, because these people who are pushing these policies on the left, I mean, they really don't have a real agenda other than Orange Man bad. So that's pretty much the main message I have for today's Walk and Talk. It's, Super Tuesday is here, it's gone. We had some, Pocahontas dropout, Mini Mike. Maybe he forgot to grab his box and, he could have done a little bit better, but, oh well. But like always, God bless everybody out there listening, and God bless the United States of America. Peace out.